the first person on the scene of a car accident where the person in the car had passed away. And I was performing CPR and doing everything until the rescue squad had gotten there. And when they showed up, they just said, "Just stop, she's passed." And that was just sort of it. That was over. But I was on a trip and I had my daughter with me in the vehicle. It's actually taking her home after having just spent the weekend with me. Um, and it's a long trip. I mean, we live 4 hours away from her, and probably in the middle of that trip. So I had a couple of hours of driving to really contemplate what just took place and realized that that could have been me because it happened directly right in front of me. And um, I knew in that moment that I would have had tremendous regrets again in my life had that been me. And that made me start thinking again, there's got to be more, there's got to be more, there's got to be more, something else to life. And I just, was searching, but again, I still didn't know where to go. But the world that I was living in, the life that I was living, an alcoholic in a bar all the time. I owned my own bar at this point. And so it was just not a good combination. Then some months later, around Christmas time, I had my daughter again. And, I had problems and other things going on in my life. And I'm doing what a parent should never do, that I'm sitting here dumping my problems on my daughter. She's like 10 years old at the time, and I'm dumping my problems on her. And we pull up to a stoplight. She says these words to me. She says, "Don't worry, Daddy, God will take care of it." And I mean, the first thing I was taken aback and just like, what in the world are you talking about? What's this God thing? And later on that day, she asked me if I would take her to church. And I wanted to make her happy, so I went and I searched for a church to take her to. And we went to a church. My plan was, this was a small church. I figured we'd just duck in and duck out. I'd show up a little bit late, sit in the back, and we would leave before, right as soon as the service was over. I would do my duty as a dad and take her to church. Well, we show up late, small church, so they knew that this is somebody new in the church. This is different. And as the pastor is doing the benediction, he's walking down the aisle to actually trap me at the back door before we can leave. And needless to say, I'll just say this: it was a bad experience for me. It wasn't a good experience. I didn't, go there and like excited to go back. I just wanted to get out of there. But during that time, I was, pursuing my career as a real estate investor. I had a person who I would meet with on a regular basis. We would get together weekly for accountability, and we would talk. But I had told him about my experience there at the church, and he said, "Steve, if you'd like to go to a church, you can come to mine. It's air quotes, a safe church. No one's going to stop you at the door, or they're not going to keep you from there." And anyway, I decided to go, and I think my first service was a Christmas Eve service. And I actually liked the church. I liked it a lot, so I went back. And I went back after going there for about 4 weeks. I had went on up to the senior pastor, and I started to just tell him my life story. And I was going through hard times. I was, telling him, things are going on in my life. And he said, "Oh, well, hold on 1 minute." He said, I got somebody I want to introduce you to. And he introduced me to a gentleman named Doug. And Doug said, "Hey, man, you want to get together for dinner one day during the week?" And I said, "Sure." And, that Wednesday evening, he and we got together for dinner. But it was the first time that somebody had ever shared the gospel with me. And Doug shared the gospel. And that night, I was on my knees receiving Jesus into my heart. And I want to just tell you this. It was a very real thing. I believed. I received Jesus. I said, "Jesus, please come into my heart, change me, change my life." And instantly, I went from drinking 7 days a week an pretty hardcore alcoholic to being delivered from alcoholism. I was a womanizer. I was delivered from pornography and everything almost just in an instant. And my heart just completely changed, and I wanted to be different. And um, I ended up starting to go to church, either a Bible study or to church or something affiliated with the church 7 days a week. I just kept trying to find things because I was hungry. I wanted more. I got a Bible and I just started reading my Bible. I was going to church to really avoid going to happy hour, which is my typical place or thing that I would do. And so going to the church was something that kept me out of the bar. It surrounded me with different people. And I knew that I had to surround myself with different people because my temptation was to go back to the bar and surround myself with my buddies. And that wasn't going to work. So I had to do something different. I grew tremendously. Got involved with different Bible studies, had different people come alongside of me, disciple me, teach me. I was hungry. I was so hungry for more and more of Jesus and to learn more about him and to learn more about his word. And, I shared the story about failing as a father. I didn't have a good father figure in my life. I didn't know what a good father was, but I started seeing some people who I really admired through the church. I thought that they were great dads and, wished that I would have had a dad like that who would have led me down the paths that they were leading their kids. And one of those gentlemen, I actually went on up to him and I told him how much I admired him being a dad. And I told him I didn't know how to be a dad. And I asked him if he would teach me how. And that man took me under his wing for years. We got together every week for years, where he was teaching me how to be a man, how to be a godly Christian man, and how to be a father. And I am so forever grateful for him and all the men who poured into me during that time. The small groups that I was in were just incredible. But, God is the one who changed my heart. God is the one who turned me around. I couldn't do the things that God did in me. And he's the one who gave me a new life. He's the one who brought those people into my life. He changed me using other people. And, ever since that time, I've wanted to be that agent of change. I've wanted to be used by God to make a difference in the hearts and the lives of other people. One of the things I'm so passionate about is helping people to be good fathers and to be good husbands, because I didn't have that in my life to start. And it took somebody being intentional about teaching me how to do that. And so it's a passion of mine today that I really want to help people with. And so I got to tell you, Jesus is real. He changed my life. He transformed me. If you're out and you're trying to do it yourself, it's not going to happen. You don't have the power to change yourself. The crazy part is it's the exact opposite of what you would think. It's learning how to surrender to him and just giving it to him and saying, I give you my heart, I give you my life, you do what you want to do with it, and I'm going to completely submit and be obedient to do whatever you ask me to do. And that's where the change comes from. The transformation comes from you submitting to him and allowing him to have his way in your life. If you're trying to be good, if you're trying to stop doing bad things or if you've got bad habits, you can try and try and try all you want, and willpower only goes so far, and eventually you fail. And the way to overcome is to submit and to admit, I can't do this. Jesus, I need you. I need your help. You do it in me, and he will. Your story might not look like mine. You might not have as dramatic of a transformation as I did. I know God had a calling on my life, and I want to make the most of it, and I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference for his kingdom. I used to say I want to build his kingdom, help him build his kingdom, but he's the builder of his kingdom, and he already built it. It's arrogant for me to think that I can build his kingdom, but I can participate in the work that he's doing. and I want to be used by Him to do so. So, in any case, I pray and I hope that this was an encouraging message for you. I would hope that if you feel any nudge or anything, that you would give your heart to Jesus. Reach out to me. Yeah, but it's simple. It's saying a prayer and saying, Lord, I receive you into my heart. I can't do this without you. I'm a sinner and I need you. And I surrender to you today. I trust you with my life, and just receiving him and believing in him. And when you believe in him, you want to get to know him. You want to know more of who he is, and the more you get to know him, the more he changes you into his likeness, the person of who he is. And so get to know him, sit at his feet, read his word, be in prayer, and allow him to do a transformational work in your heart and your life. So I pray this over you. I pray that you're blessed. I pray that you come to know him. I pray that you surrender everything to him and allow him to have his way in your life. Have a blessed day.